Hello, my monstrosities. Hello once again. Today I bring to you, hear me out. I'm not saying that Hexwarp Thrallband is better or as good as Cult of Magic. I'm not saying that it doesn't have severe flaws. I think I'm also not a Thousand Suns player. I am just going to show you some things for you to determine how much you value that we probably didn't discuss as a community enough, I think. So, that's what this is. I am taking my line of thinking that I've developed from being a Tyrannage player with Warrior Bioform Onslaught, where if I ignore the shit that kinda doesn't do anything, is there anything around that I will enjoy? And I think Hexwarp Thrallband has some things for the way you might want to play. So, the thing that we're ignoring, of course, is probably flow of magic. For most things, I'm not going to make sure that this is happening, but just as a refresher, it is the same demons, canoptic court, now Grey Knights thing where you have a area that gives you power, and you can expand that by controlling more objectives. Each time a Thousand Suns model from your army makes a psychic attack, reroll a wound roll of 1. If your unit, or if your model, is wholly within your army's flow of magic, each time it makes a psychic attack, add 1 to the wound roll instead. Cool. That out the way, let's talk about the things that I think are better. Empowered Manifestation, we will be coming back to because you can add 6 inches to the range of psychic abilities of the bearer while you are within your army's flow of magic. That specify a range, and each time a model in the bearer's unit takes a hazardous test for a psychic weapon, you can reroll the result. And we will also be probably looking at the Noctilith Mantle for 15 points. While the bearer's unit is on the battlefield, it is wholly within your army's flow of magic. They can't use rituals, but they can still be the target of rituals. So keep that in mind. You can still use things like Weaver of Fates, Temporal Surge, Twist of Fate, things like that. So that's that part. Now, the stratagems. This is going to be like take number 3 or 2 or whatever, because I forgot one of the things that I wanted to point out, so I'll get that out of the way so I don't forget now. Strange of Time, if you are familiar with playing an army that has a lot of blast weapons like I am, it gets annoying when one of your things gets tagged and you can't do anything about it. Now with Strange of Time, until the end of the turn, your unit is eligible to shoot and declare a charge in a turn in which, or declare a charge in a turn in which it fell back. If you are wholly within your army's flow of magic, you can do both, right? So, with Strange of Time, instead of just having to fall back and then doing absolutely nothing, this will let your Thousand Sun Psyker unit, Magnus, or Psyker units, Rubric Marines, Stereotypical Terminators that got tagged fall back, and then you can shoot your blast weapons. Now, that's not the main reason why we're here. The main reason why we are here, is because of what many of us and Warrior Bioform Onslaught are doing, is the fact that I just need to strip cover. So with Scoring Warp Flame, Scouring Warp Flame, 1000 Sun Psyker unit from your army that has not been selected to shoot this phase and is wholly within your army's flow of magic. Until the end of the phase, ranged weapons equipped by models in your unit have ignores cover. After your unit has shot this phase, select one enemy unit hit by one or more of those attacks, strip the cover. Cool. This will be key because once something's cover is stripped, you can target it with whatever. Wrath of the Doomed is cool for the fact that it applies to any Thousand Sun unit where you get a fight on death. Don't really need to worry about that. And Kaleidoscopic Tempest will have probably one specific use, but it's still here as well for a Thousand Sun Psyker unit. You will gain stealth, and if you are wholly within your army's flow of magic, benefit of cover as well, while being shot at. Cool. So, let's get into the things that are passable. You still have access, once again, keep in mind, you still have access to your rituals. So, while you will be losing out on things of blanking a damage, you can still have access to another form of reroll with Weaver of Fates, right? Twist of Magic, this will be another way of, don't know what that sound was. Um, this will be another way of boosting the AP into a target if the cover wasn't stripped and you want to have two units that are eating extra AP. You can do this with Twist of Magic. I'm sorry, Twist of Fate, excuse me. And with Temporal Surge, we can get some of the things that need to shoot into position. So, keep those in mind. Magnus the Red. I think you still bring Magnus. +1 to hit, +1 to wound. Subtract 1 from attack's damage characteristic. Goes really good when you are also stealth and have the benefit of cover. Or if you are outside of the flow of magic, re-rolling wound rolls of 1. +1 wound, +1 to hit, re-roll wound rolls of 1. That's Magnus. Still think you bring him. He has Blast. As we discussed before, you probably want a way to fall back and shoot. Now, you're not the worst in combat, right? Definitely not. However, it'd be nice if you can still do this. And if the situation is working out for you, fall back, shoot, and charge if need be. You have Deep Strike. I still think you bring Magnus. On to the Thousand Suns Force Fiend. Oh, also, Magnus does have Deep Strike and is a Psyker, so you can activate Scouring Warp Flame with Magnus in a way. But that's not the prime one we're doing this with. Force Fiends. 145 points for 3d3 hitting on 3, strength 10, AP 3, damage 3 blast is pretty good. The reason you usually don't bring Forge Fiends in something like Cult of Magic is because if you're not bringing Cabal points, you're not boosting what you can do with the army, usually. However, with this list, we are just killing our opponent, okay? Also, with the Thousand Suns Forge Fiend, in your shooting phase after this model has shot, select one enemy unit that was hit by one or more of those attacks. Until the start of your next turn, that enemy unit is suppressed. While a unit is suppressed, each time a model in that unit makes an attack, subtract 1 from the hit roll. This will extend to the fight phase. Thousand Suns usually don't like the fight phase, so giving them a way to have -1 to hit going into them will also be nice, and not to mention the fact that we will have other ways of being -1 to hit. So if almost your entire army is -1 to hit, one way or another, yeah, that will come in handy. So the Thousand Suns Forge Fiend. Also, the reason that this spurred on is, well, people will still bring double Mutilative Vortex Beast. But the Mutilative Vortex Beast, outside of maybe Destined by Fate, doesn't really. Yeah, nope, I take that back. What was the other one that I was thinking? Oh, there we go. Psychic Dominion. Sorry, started reading the wrong one. Doesn't get anything. Into which, yeah, you can have a 4-up Feel No Pain against psychic attacks. Cool. But you were already bringing double Mutilative Vortex Beast, and nothing was happening for it. So you were still going for something like Rituals on it, because it does have the ability to extend Rituals. That's fine, that's dandy. We're not really going for any of this. This is just because it has a good gun. Whether that be the Torrent, that ignores cover, 2d6, whether that be the Blast, 24 inches out, d6 plus 3, hitting on 3, strength 9, AP 2, damage 2. If the cover is stripped, that AP 2 is sticking. The Beam, it's one shot, 18, -4, d6 plus 6, right? 5-up Feel No Pain. People will tell you Mutilative Vortex Beast is a little bit annoying to get rid of, and in this we are going to make it even harder to get rid of between something like the Forge Fiend and things that are coming up. And by coming up, I mean immediately right now. The Demon Prince. Yes, the Weave of Fate, cool, whatever. You can give precision to Scarab Cult Terminators and Rubric Marines. While a friendly, with Glamour of Zinc, while a friendly Thousand Suns unit is within 6 inches of this model, models in that unit have stealth. Another way of giving a lot of your army -1 to hit at ranged for this one, right? So Forge Fiend still kicks in melee. Thousand Suns Demon Prince kicks out at range. But why also would you be taking the Thousand Suns Demon Prince? I think instead of course, needing to use Kaleidoscopic Tempest on Psyker units, which, as we see, not every unit in Thousand Suns is a Psyker. There's also the fact that I think this works with Empowered Manifestation at 20 points. While the bearer's unit is wholly within your army's flow of magic, add 6 inches to the range of psychic abilities the bearer has that specify a range, including rituals, and each time a model in the bearer's unit makes a hazardous test for a psychic weapon, you can re-roll the result. Don't really care about the hazardous part, but if it works the way I believe it does, you have a foot out aura of stealth for your army. You can sit into your deployment zone with a T10 monster that will be giving you Cabal points still, right? And just give out stealth to practically your entire army. That's not a bad package if it works like that. There's probably a loophole that I'm forgetting because I'm like, there's no way it just works like that. But it is a psychic ability. So, you know. But hey, if that gets ruled differently, there's also a backup plan. With the Thousand Sun Sorcerer and Terminator armor, marked by fate in your shooting phase, you can select one enemy unit within 18 inches of and visible to this model. Until the end of the turn, each time a friendly Thousand Suns model makes an attack that targets that unit, reroll a hit roll of 1. You will go to 2 feet for this ability with that enhancement. Reroll hit rolls of 1, fine. And this is also a Psyker unit. So you can strip cover. It also has deep strike. And if it is within your army's flow of magic, it can be a 6-inch deep strike. So you don't necessarily have to worry about the range. But oh wait, it's crazy. Would I possibly have something to make that range not an issue, or even more wacky, more tabacky? Cerebral Terminators have a Hellfire missile rack that is 36 inches out. Yes, it's nice that if they have a Psyker model attached, -1 to wound, -1 to hit, possibly benefit of cover if you need it. Cool, right? Deep Strike, the 36 inches, it doesn't say that it has to be a psychic attack to strip the cover, just that it's a Psyker unit that is within your army's flow of magic. So, if you want to be extra careful, it can be a Noctilith Mantle unit, 15 points, stripping cover, 36 inches out. Do you need that? Who knows? But you can have it. Then you also have the option of Thousand Sun Sorcerers that can't be targeted outside of 18 inches. Tie those to Rubric Marines, reroll wound rolls of 1. If they are inside your flow of magic, +1 to wound, reroll wound rolls of 1. Critical wounds improve the AP characteristic of the attack by 1. Psyker unit to strip cover if you're within the flow of magic. It is an option and a safer option if you just want less points on that. So bring that up because that's where it can possibly go on that one, right? Also, with Strands of Time, one of the things, if your thing gets tagged, right? Yeah, it's nice that they have a pistol weapon, but to let the rest of your army fire into something, fall back and shoot. And if it's within flow of magic, fall back, shoot, and charge. Cool. Rubric Marines. Now, the Thousand Sun Demon Prince with wings is a maybe. I've seen a couple of lists on Cult of Magic that actually brought some, but here you have a character that can uppy downy and do stickying with warding hex because it requires a Thousand Sun Psyker unit that you have control, command phase. Uh, Actually doesn't specify whose command phase, just says command phase. So you can sticky an objective and fly away. Don't know why it doesn't have deep strike, but it doesn't. But at the end of your opponent's turn, if this model is not within engagement range of enemy units, you can remove it from the battlefield, and in the reinforced step of your next movement phase, set it up anywhere on the battlefield that is more than 9 inches horizontally away from all enemy models. If the battle ends and this model is not on the battlefield, it is destroyed. So, still has fly, still has psychic attacks that can end up doing +1 to wound, or reroll wounds. Maybe consider a Demon Prince with wings. Then, let's talk about allies. The Burning Chariot is another way to strip cover. Can you do this in Cult of Magic? Absolutely. However, in here, now you can strip cover on probably 2, maybe if you were going for the points to do this twice over with Burning Chariots, 3 units, and a 4th one having +2 AP into it. You can fire a lot of things off of the board with this. So consider maybe allies with Burning Chariot. I don't really think you need it, but it felt weird not addressing that. Lord of Change, going to the point of once something is stripped of cover, it is stripped of cover. So with the Lord of Change in your shooting phase, oh, also it goes +1 to strength, so this goes to like 10 and this goes to 9. You can pick if the Bolt of Change will have ignores cover, lethal hits, or sustained hits D3. You can opt out of ignores cover and just go with sustained hits D3 for a fair number of shots. Make it even better, or lethal hits with not the best AP. So if cover's removed, that's an option. Kairos. Not necessarily worried about all of this. The Lord of Deceit aura is cool, but with indirect fire, if the cover is stripped, you don't have to worry about that part for indirect fire. And it is blast. So again, if something got tagged, it has a stratagem for you to fall back, and the cover was probably stripped, then you can Kairos whatever you feel needs to be Kairos, if you go that way with it. Blue Horrors, you're probably bringing Blue Horrors as the ally for some of these. If not, you should probably consider them anyway because they do have Infiltrate and you are playing a detachment that, air quotes, I know you can't see it, wants to control parts of the board. So if you have Infiltrators, that's step 1 to actually getting up the board. And just final 2 that, once again, if cover is stripped, cover is stripped. War Dog Brigands, improve AP characteristic of 1 if it's the closest eligible enemy unit for your ranged attacks. Also has an indirect fire situation with Blast. Cool. And Night Despoiler also has good guns. Maybe that's one. It's a lot of points though, especially in combination with Magnus. But just to show and put that out there, if you think that you're that person, go for it. So yeah, I don't want to say that Hexwarp Thrallband is amazing, but I wouldn't be surprised if somebody takes 1 or 2 squads of Scarab Occult Terminators, gives one Noctilith Mantle, maybe another one Empowered Manifestation, or maybe drop one of those units for a Walking Demon Prince, takes Magnus, 3 Forge Fiends, 2 Forge Fiends, and 2 Mutilative Vortex Beasts. I think that's how that comes out points wise. And actually win something. Because they will have stealth, possibly benefit of cover, possibly, well, Magnus will have +1 to hit, +1 to wound when needed, possibly rerolling wounds when needed, and stripping cover, and just wins like that. I wouldn't be surprised. So I'm putting this out there for you to test out if you want, but if you don't, you don't. So yeah, if you like the video, like it, got a comment for me, comment, and until next time, peace out, my monstrosities.